Hi, I'm Shana Morris, your Middle Tennessee realtor here with Justin Pritchard. Justin has been here since 2020.
Fall, September 2020.
Where did you move from?
We moved here from Rocklin, California.
Rocklin, California.
California.
And tell me about buying your first house in Tennessee.
That was pretty amazing. I had born and raised in California and then joined the Army and left for a few years and went back and started a family. And it didn't seem like anything we did really helped us get to home ownership in California because the goalposts just kind of kept moving as the housing market kept just getting more and more expensive. So to be able to buy a house outside of the state and such a lovely home on such a good sized piece of property was a huge opportunity for us. So
did you always have Tennessee in mind, or how did you come about coming to Tennessee?
I was stationed here back in the 90s at Fort Campbell, but initially our thoughts were toward Texas, where my family is. But a few things happened that kind of turned that, and my work, my employer seemed really excited about the possibility of having me in Tennessee versus Texas because we already have an office there, and I am my own one-man show here in Tennessee.
In Tennessee. And you bought in Tennessee. You had been to the state, but your family had not been to Tennessee.
No.
And you had never been to this area.
No, I think I'd been out to Cookeville one time in when I was at Campbell. I couldn't tell you what I did here. I couldn't remember. When I got here, I was like, oh, I've been here before. But
so how was that for your family? Your family, but I'm kind of interested in your kids. Like, how did your kids feel about moving to a state they'd never been to, with no friends, and knew nothing about it?
Right. So, we left two there. So we have four total, and two of our adult sons, they stayed. And then our youngest two, obviously they had no choice, so they came. And our son, he's the older of the two. He was much more hesitant to leave his friend group. He had started high school already, so he was in this weird space, wanting to stay, wanting to go, kind of seeing both sides of it, but there was a harder transition for him. And our daughter was leaving middle school into high school, so it was a much more natural break. And so she was more excited about the new opportunities to come out here and meet new people and see what it was about and get out of California. So.
And how do they feel about it now that they've been here for going on 3 years?
They love it. They love it here. My son ended up getting involved in the track team at high school and making some good friends. And now he's graduated and he's working, and they both love it here.
How do you feel about leaving your two adult children at home in California? How did that? Yeah. I mean, that's tough.
Yes. It has been tough. People ask all the time, what do you miss about California? And that's the only thing I do. I really only miss my sons. And I talk to them regularly, and one's been out to visit and one's going to come back. I'm leaning on them both to move.
Do you think they would? Do they have any plans to move?
I think the older middle son would move here. He's been out here. He loved it here. He's been out with us. And so he'd be more apt to move if anyone. The oldest is in college, finishing up his business degree, has a good job, and has more family out there. So I don't think he'd ever consider leaving California.
He might hit 3 out of 4.
Yeah. And plus we found out recently he's got the steady girl. So.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes it difficult.
It does.
So what made you want to leave California? Like, what was the initial kind of catalyst that started the search to wherever it was you were going to land?
I had been talking about leaving California for probably a solid dozen years before we moved. I was always open to the idea of getting out of California just because, I'd seen it, I'd been there, and the housing prices were always an issue. We couldn't own a home. So I always thought if we just get out of California, things would take a turn. And then the state itself is in a fiscal disaster. It's a hard place to live. I always tell people it's a beautiful state, but the price of admission has become unreasonable.
Yeah. Do you think that anyone has preconceived notions of the South, or did you yourself have preconceived notions before you lived here that maybe are not true, or maybe were true?
Yeah. I actually didn't. I've been to the South enough, and my family in Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Texas, and so that I really didn't have any preconceived notions about the South. I think that some people do, though. about whether it's, you know, its level of conservatism or the religious vibe or whatever it may be. And you find that the one thing that is, those things are really nothing to be concerned about. And the one thing that they misconceive is that actually, gosh, people are just really nice here. They're just good people here. And I always tell people, it's like everyone has time. Like they want to get to know you. They want to talk with you. They have time. It's relaxed. No one's in a hectic rush. I mean, if there people are here that are in a hectic rush, it's usually the Californians.
That's probably true. So you bought sight unseen in a state that your family had never been to, in a town that you maybe had been to, maybe not, you don't know for sure.
Right.
How was that? And would you do anything differently if you had to start over?
I'm going to answer that in reverse.
Okay.
I don't know that I would do anything differently. Maybe take a trip out. I think we were very much excited about the prospect of moving, and
you can answer honestly, even though I'm your realtor.
No, I mean, like we were really excited about the whole process, and you honestly made that a lot easier because of the way you handled it. Like, you're like, I'll drive and show you whatever. I'll get you on the phone. We'll do all the video walkthroughs, and you did, and that made it a lot easier. And you, as we looked at houses, I just remembered you had very honest opinions about some of the houses we looked at until we landed on the one we purchased. And so that made it very comfortable. And then once we saw the pictures of the surrounding area, the wildlife, the outdoor life, the water, all of it, it started to become more and more exciting, the potential to live here. And so I think it really sort of started feeding our hopes about living somewhere else. And I knew I didn't want to live in Nashville. I'd been in Nashville enough times when I knew I didn't want to live in the city.
Yeah.
And I didn't really want to live around Nashville because that's where all the Californians were going. And I was like, I don't know that I want to live. And, you know, I loved the idea of moving somewhere a little smaller, a little more slow paced. And we went through the inspection process and had good communication. And so it really kind of took some of the fears that you might have buying sight unseen out of the equation. So,
okay. So what is one piece of advice that you would give to people thinking about coming to this particular area of Tennessee?
Do it. That's my first piece of advice. Do it, but don't tell your friends.
Don't tell them about this area.
Yeah. You should come. Just don't tell everybody about it. No, honestly, I think that it would be start the process and think about. I mean, it's easy to think about living, you know, in a big city or in the suburbs immediately of a big city if you've lived in California, but the Upper Cumberland is amazing. It's beautiful out here. It is a great pace of life, and there's so much access to everything. And it's an hour each way to either Nashville or Knoxville.
To the big cities, if you really need the big city life. Yeah.
And I travel for work, and I need the airport.
For the airport,
so,
it's nice that the airport's on the east side of Nashville. You don't even really have to go to Nashville to get to the airport, so it makes it handy.
Hour drive and easy to get to, and it's phenomenal. So I
wanted to thank you guys for tuning in and watching these little interviews that I do with my past clients that have turned into friends. If you have any of your own questions or concerns that you want answered, feel free to reach out in the comments or shoot me a message or a text message, and I will get those questions answered for you too. Don't forget, I also am originally from California, so I've done this move as well with all my clients. So I do have firsthand knowledge, but I'm a realtor, so it is my job to sell the area. As much as I do love it for real, it is my job to sell it. But I am more than happy to get you guys the information from Californians just like you who made that move fairly recently. So feel free to reach out.